Hello. I believe I am recording this.
Gonna beat your ass if you're not.
I know. I'm doing 2 sticks.
Okay.
And they're both blinking.
All right.
Should I walk? What do you think? I'm gonna walk.
Do
I'm gonna
a
walk
triple
over there
check.
one more time.
Do a triple check, and I will tell the audience.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you want to finish the conversation we were just
Yeah,
having?
let's do that.
Okay. So we were.
Real quick. Welcome to
yeah.
the Big E Comedy Venture Podcast.
There you go.
A weekly podcast with me and Amy over here. I guess that's it. I don't know what to talk about.
Hey, well, wait a second. Amy has some breaking news.
Yeah.
Today, I wake up.
And this doesn't have to do with the conversation?
No.
Okay.
Today, I wake up, I check my email,
Yeah.
and I have an unsolicited email from Twitter that says, after further review, we've come to determine
shit.
you have not broken our rules. And I'm back on Twitter, baby.
The red flag that you flew it takes a little longer at Twitter than the NFL, I guess.
Yes. So I am thrilled
Wow.
that I am back
Now,
on Twitter.
Do you just have the followers you had?
Yeah.
Or are you just back?
Yeah. I'm
That's
back.
good for you and good for the show, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Because
so
you have a lot of.
I do. I have
drew
20,000 right
a
now.
lot of people into the show.
Yeah. So anyway,
Including
we
your
were
friend Terry, who gave us a lot of money over the years, or over the last year.
Speaking of money, I see you have a note there. Did you want to mention something?
I do.
before we start?
I got to fucking print it out.
I know. He has an agenda.
So here's the thing. I thought I'd mention the Venmo. I understand that I'm not on a trip anymore, but I am not living a lap of luxury.
He needs help.
I still need financial gains. And here's the deal. I've said it before. All I'm going to ask for is $1 an episode, man. And I do have 2 people doing it.
That's awesome.
And I get a weekly thing, and it
That's
just
really
says,
cool.
$1, here's your $1. And you
That's
know what?
really nice.
I'll take it.
Yeah, because we do them, 30 episodes.
Right.
It's $30
And I
bucks.
I know how many people listen, and I know that some of those people gave during the thing. But I know I'm not the best at math, but I can do like simple calculations on a calculator, and not all of you are paying. So
And of course I get 0 of that. So
I
just keep
want
it up.
to.
No, I'm
I know.
I am 100% kidding.
I hope there's a day when that's an argument.
Yes.
that you can get 50 cents on my dollar. But
That's
anyway,
funny.
I got the Venmo. Not a big deal. Eric Fady, Cash App, and PayPal. I understand with technology. I don't do Netflix anymore, so I get it. But I think $1 an
Yes,
episode is not
$1
a
an
terrible
episode.
request.
And you do have Netflix because I have Netflix.
I know. I just
so-
haven't got. Well, I'm still working on my other platforms since I
Yeah.
have them.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right.
Okay, so we were talking.
You're back on Twitter for one, which is
Yes. Still Unwoke17.
Okay.
MAGA Barbie is the name.
okay.
And so we were talking about Lisa Marie Presley and, of course, how when everybody dies, everyone says
Has
super
to
nice
let what
things
they know
about
about-
them.
Yeah.
And I said, would you say, because I was saying, like, I think my friends would cave
Right.
if I died young and they'd be like, oh, she was so nice.
I like
she was
that you
the
said die
best,
young
blah, blah, blah. Because
now.
that's, yeah.
Are you young now?
Yeah. I
You know
would
what
still
I'm saying?
consider me dying
When
now
is dying young?
I
When's the
would
line?
say under...
And I'm not making fun of you.
No. It's a fair question. I would say, honestly, I would probably say like 50 and under.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Or in a tragic way.
Of course.
That,
Right.
But anyway, I think they'd cave and they'd be like, oh, she was so great. And she was, the life of the party.
Right.
When in reality,
Well, that's
I
not
leave,
true.
I'm the first to leave.
Right.
I do the Italian goodbye or
Yeah.
Irish goodbye. Where you don't say bye to anybody. So I said to E, I'm going to rely on you to be the voice of
The voice
truth.
of reason.
Yes, and not say that I lit up a room because I
Right.
don't.
What's funny, by the way, one time when I started working at the restaurant up in Holland when I was there, which now, ironically, I'm the few people I'm referencing, I'm literally to this day still friends with, even though we just worked at a restaurant for a year together.
Yeah.
But famously, I had this one friend.
It's famous.
It's famous amongst my group of friends, I should say. In our text string, it would be famously said, I guess. But I think I'd been working there like 2 weeks. But we got pretty close pretty fast. But this girl is like, if I died, would you go to my funeral? And I was like, Probably not. Like, yet. Like, I mean, I've known you like 2 weeks. Go to your funerals. I think it was under the context that I had gone home.
Okay.
Okay. I'd gone home. I'm living in Commerce, Michigan. He lives in or Holland. Would I go? I'm like, drive all the way there for 2 weeks. And I reached a point of that job at one point, like another month in or something, where I like, you know what? I would go to your funeral at this point if you died. And I remember when I was dating that girl for a little bit, Mandy, if you will, I was telling a joke a little bit right off when that started. And it was like, I don't feel like I can tell the joke now. I feel like I have to start dating someone again to tell the joke. But how soon after you started dating somebody would you have to go to the funeral?
Immediately.
You think so? Look, for real. What if you haven't met the family yet and stuff like that? Like you haven't met, you've gone on 2 dates.
I would say, okay, no.
You've gone on 2 dates.
I would say that it has, I would say that you have to be known to somebody in the friendship or family circle.
That it's happening.
Yeah. Otherwise, but unless you're a friend or something and it would just be normal that you would go because you know them.
1 second. Keep talking.
I swear to God, if he's not recording
this.
Okay.
All that's going to happen is the Facebook Live is going to come in late.
Okay, gotcha. So anyways, yes.
That's why you weren't seeing it, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So the audio is fine and YouTube was fine.
All right,
but I just
cool.
figured I clicked on the Facebook.
Cool.
No, but it's just a weird thought, right?
Yeah. And I just...
Like, imagine if you seriously, back in the day, you went on a date with some guy. You're like a Friday night, you go to the movies together. You're like, oh, you're texting still. And then you find out like 3 days later he gets in a car crash.
Yeah, right.
What is your reaction to that?
Like, oh, damn, that's crazy.
I
mean, I even think
cry?
like those... to talk about, people have to say something about everything. We're learning everything that there is to possibly know about that killer in Idaho.
Yeah.
And, people who he's gone out on dates with are starting to come out and tell their stories. And it's like...
You didn't open the door for me or something.
Right. But it's also like, I was sitting there going, holy shit. Think about like, you just go on this Tinder date. You're matched with this dude.
Right.
And you find out later, you see his mug on the news because he slaughtered 4 strangers.
I think
that would be wild.
In this case, you certainly would talk about it. Like I would not, like I would be weird to like call the news and say,
Yeah.
But like, how would you not bring? You're not going to bring it up to your friends.
I would be telling everybody.
I went on a Tinder date with the Idaho shooter.
Yeah, seriously. Like this is the most like fourth hand thing ever, but I'm still telling people I know about it. My sister's fiance, his sister lived in that house in college.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And are you talking? So you have a third way connection to the Idaho killer?
So I'm telling that story. So of course, if I like went on a Tinder date, I would be telling people about it.
By the way, a thought that I've had recently, and my notes are already going out the rail here, but it's all right. A thought that I had earlier this week about putting a joke on Facebook, but I feel like it's kind of mean. I don't like to be mean. I don't mind making fun of myself. I don't mind if it's kind of a generic thing. But I felt like, it feels like it's a little directive. But I think it's funny enough to say.
Okay.
And that is like, these people that share that shit where they're like, I believe like the energy you put out there is the energy you get back. And I believe that too. I believe in
I was
some
just
level
going to say, that sounds like something you would say.
No, I believe in karma and I believe in putting good vibes out and getting them back. But a lot of those same people are always like, I also have the worst taste in men. The worst guys are attracted to me.
Right.
But they literally will also put things out saying, the energy, I believe that you put out the energy you deserve or you get.
Right. Or they're the ones that have like the most messed up lives and you're like,
I think I
feel like...
I forget who it was. There was a celebrity. What spawned it was a celebrity recently on some interview. I was just on Facebook, some article from whatever. Some celebrity said, "Oh, I attract the worst men," and I know it's kind of cliche to hear girls say that. Guys will say the same thing. Crazy girls, whatever.
Yeah,
they both do it. Guys and girls both do it, but guys don't too often put those little memes out there.
Right.
And like, I swear, most of the girls I see that share this energy vibe will also be like, and they're not, I'm attracted to weirdos.
Right.
They're like, weirdos are attracted to me.
Right.
And I'm like, is that the energy you're putting out?
Guess you're putting out weird energy.
I don't know. I'm not, look at who am I?
Who are you?
I don't know. But it's just a thought I had.
Yeah.
Something I wanted to say real quick, going back to last week. when we talked about switching places.
Oh, yes.
Oh, and by the way, what I would say about you. What I would say about you if you
Oh,
died.
yes. What would you say about me?
The problem is you've been such a fucking beneficial person in my life that I don't know that I'd really want.
I know. Honestly, I think now at this point you would probably. I think you'd cry.
It would be rough. It would not
I
be
think
great.
you'd cry.
Yeah,
I think you'd cry.
I think I would. Oh, I
mean,
cry a lot these days.
I was just
yeah.
gonna say you'll cry at random shit.
Yeah,
so
I'm
I think
very
you'd
emotional.
for sure cry.
No, I would cry.
But I think you could at least share, like, man, I
would do
really
something
didn't like her
humorous.
at first, you know.
Yeah, I could. That's where my message would be.
Yeah.
My message would be like, "This life is wild." My relationship with Amy started at me destroying her for her wedding in Mackinac, and how this typical white bitch is like, "Oh, I got married in
White
Mackinac." I mean, I'll throw bitch in the obituary, but
Oh, bitch-uary.
right. The
Ooh, I want to know bitch-uary.
there I could do.
Ooh,
That I could do.
Oh, bitch-uary.
What I would say,
Tell my sisters that.
if you were talking about parties and stuff, no, I wouldn't say that. But I don't think my way of showing emotion wouldn't be to lie.
Now, what if you were standing next to, because I could see Mike, he'd cave. I think he'd cave and
Yeah.
he'd say nice things
Are you saying
about
at
me.
the place?
No, like if he were being asked, say you were being interviewed, and he'd like, tell me about Amy.
Yeah.
What was she like? Because say I die under suspicious circumstances, and there's a
I would
date
say
line.
Amy-
Say there's a date line, okay?
Right.
And you and Mike are being interviewed in this studio.
Yeah, for some reason, national news has
Yes,
come in here.
because something I disappeared leaving
Yeah.
here or something. So
You were the last person to see her. She was doing your podcast.
So they're talking to you, and I could see Mike.
I might cave in
being
that.
really positive and like, oh, every time she walked in a room, she lit up the room. Would you butt in and be like, no, she
I
didn't?
wouldn't butt in, and I think I would partially cave. I mean, I just don't think I would say that stuff. I think what I would say is
Well,
she was a
this would
very
play.
kind individual. You know, she helped me out lots. You know,
Yeah.
we had a great friendship that started with her, something like that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I would think those would be true things,
Yeah,
but
they
not
are.
fake.
Right.
You know, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
You do not light up the room at a party for sure. I mean, and you leave quite early.
Yeah,
and you
nobody
probably
ever
don't
called me
wanna
the
be
life
there.
of the party. Although I guess maybe if you talk to somebody in my college years, they might say that I
I've
was
left
life of the party.
I've left those parties at Katie's before though.
You usually leave after me.
That's true.
I usually leave you behind at my friend's house.
I think what usually happens is when you leave, then
Yeah.
I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
well, what am I going to do here? Even though they're very nice people and I've watched their dogs and they don't care, I'm just very weird about it.
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, I think that if it came down to it, though, I wouldn't fully cave. I think I would do, like I told you last week when you put on your Facebook that you became the head coach, right?
Yes,
Or whatever,
yes.
the full-on head coach of the varsity
Yeah.
dance school that you're doing here or
Yep.
whatever. And I was going to write out kind of like, this is wild. I never would have thought that this person,
Yeah.
who would have ever thought that me in high school would be doing a podcast with a person who's coaching varsity pom girls or whatever. But like, I didn't write it because I was like, is that making it too much about me?
No.
But I think that that's what I would do
Yeah.
with you. I would
Yeah,
do
yeah, yeah.
something that some people would
Yeah.
maybe be like, well, he's making it
I
about
think that
me.
that's better than just generic, like, oh, everybody loved her and she was the life of the party and lit up a room and
Yeah.
I don't want any of that.
Yeah.
Because it's really not true.
So I was thinking about switching places with you, and I did realize there was one thing besides just obviously banging a bunch of dudes, as I said. But like,
And you're
I'm still standing by
okay.
that. Yeah,
All right.
100%. But
Dudes.
dudes, because that's what a girl would fuck. Like, I'm not gonna.
But yeah, okay, right, got it.
Look, I'm at the point. Now we're going on a whole other tangent. But I was at this thought today last night when I was doing comedy, and I was like, I'm almost at a point where I'm considering just having that full on just be on an onstage thing. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I know that like people could say it's selfish. I don't think it's a selfish thing for me that I don't like the idea of going down on girls. I don't mind. I want other people to have pleasure. I just think the human body is kind of gross to me.
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't.
Yeah.
So I think there's maybe a borderline, more of an autistic, maybe not autistic,
Yeah.
but something there.
Yeah.
It's not a thing where I just want to get off.
Right.
And don't fuck. And,
Yeah.
and I really
Well,
wish.
and the thing is, though, is like, if you have that and you acknowledge it, then I would rather have that than you like pretending that you want to do it because it's going to be terrible 100% of the time, and I'd rather not deal with it.
I feel bad because so many people know her because I've only dated one person, so I don't want to talk too much
Yeah.
about that. But I wanted to want to do this thing.
Yeah.
And so I've thought about bringing it up on stage at this point because I'm really hit a place in my life where it does worry me. And the joke would be, you can be really rich and not want to go down on girls, or you could be really poor but do that very well. But you can't do both and expect to have a girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like, you need one of those things to offset.
Yes.
And I don't have either.
Yeah.
But it's like,
You know what? There's some girls though who don't love that. So maybe you just have to find her.
that's the hope, I suppose. And,
Yeah.
and maybe sometime maybe something will change. Maybe
Maybe.
at a point. But I will say, in my defense, it is not, I really truly believe this, it's not a selfish thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing that I just find mostly the human body gross.
Right.
And that's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
I also truly believe if I had had like any level of like a normal puberty where like I had girlfriends earlier, you know what I mean? Like where I experimented to this kind of phase.
Yeah.
I think I would have got it out of the way. And I
Yeah.
felt like I went so long
Yeah.
that it was just like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's gross.
So-
I guess. But anyway,
About switching with me.
about
What was
switching
the
with you.
other thing?
The other thing was, dude, fucking eat. Because I'm so cheap. I love food, man.
Yeah.
I love food.
Where would you go?
Oh my, dude.
Like Fleming Steakhouse, like
I'm not
that
a big
sort of thing,
no,
or
not
like
that. I mean, it doesn't have to be that.
Okay.
But just to be at the bar and legitimately be okay with ordering a burger with rings and, you know, a fucking
milkshake.
a milkshake and stuff, and not worry about the price.
Yeah.
And not worry about the cost. And the fatness, I you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I do it pretty decent with control for the most part. I have big portions.
Yeah.
But I was driving around delivering food this week, and I was just there was some smell. Something I delivered. There's your boy,
Yeah.
your girl.
Cece.
Cece.
Hi, babies.
Oh, hello, Cece. Freshly shorn, Cece.
Yes, freshly shorn.
Wow, yeah, she looks nice, man.
Oh, you're so pretty. Hi, baby.
But yeah, I was smelling some food. I was like,
Yeah.
fucking eat. Like, go to a goddamn restaurant and not feel bad that I'm spending $30.
Yeah.
So that's what I would have done.
Nice.
Like, differently, besides the
I
sex.
like it.
But sex and food.
Sex and food.
Sex and food. So I have I want to get to the money thing later, but here's
Okay.
another thing I wanted to bring up. And I'm trying to decide, I kind of tease it on the Facebook page of like, when is it okay to give up on something? And I tried to do something this last week and a half actually, where I was like, I want to read something that's quote unquote a classic.
Okay.
And I enjoy reading, but I do a lot of fiction and a lot of just Stephen King, some current authors, right? I don't go back too often. I have read some stuff, but not a lot. I got Moby Dick.
Oh boy. Okay.
Have you ever heard anything about Moby Dick as far as reading it? Did you ever have to read it in school?
That I think I did, but I think that was probably I was to the point where I was doing a Cliff Notes type of thing. So
Gotcha.
I don't remember it fully.
It's 500 pages.
Oh, man.
Which is I've read
Yeah, I was gonna
1,000-page
say
books,
yeah, like 11,
But-
22, 63 is huge.
but the lettering is really small.
Super small.
I tried. I tried. And in about a week and a half, I got about 40 pages in. And I'm a slow reader.
Okay.
But I got a new book 2 days ago, and I'm like 50, 60 pages in.
Okay.
I went a week and a half, and I was like 40
What
pages
is
in.
the basis of Moby Dick? I know it's
should've
about a
looked that
big
up.
whale.
I should have looked that up. I mean, as far as I know, it's just about some dude who wants to. I should have looked up what the thing was to tell you. I don't know. But my question to you was like, it's this weird thing of like, I'm not trying to be snobby. It's like, it'd be fun. You
Yeah.
always hear Moby Dick.
Yeah.
You hear the,
Right,
white
right.
whale. And that's my white whale. I know that's from Moby Dick.
Yeah.
Referring to like, this is my thing. my big deal.
Your big thing.
Like my white whale in my life would be trying to make a full living doing comedy and
Right,
podcasting, right?
right.
That'd be like my white whale
Right,
at this
right.
point. But I don't know
Everyone in sales has one.
Right. But like, so I wanted to try it,
Yeah.
and I
Well-
just couldn't. And I was wondering, like, what is like the level? Like, I don't need to.
No.
I'm not in school.
I think it's probably okay.
Am I
to
a
give
bad
up on that.
not a bad person, but like, am I?
I think, maybe start with something maybe like Of Mice and Men.
Right, which I have read back in the day, but again, it's been up forever.
But like that one's like better, easier to get through, better story.
When I showed my dad that I was gonna try to do it, my dad was like, "Whoa, good for you, man! Good for you."
He's probably like, who Freaky Friday with my son?
Right. And it's like I sat there, and what sucked is there was like parts of it, and I only got through 40 pages, but I could tell if he could just tell the story. I felt, and maybe this is like it was written 100+ years ago, so maybe this is a thing that we're just we've gotten so to the point where like just get to the point.
Yeah,
give me 30 minutes, whatever.
Right.
But like he was checking in, he was a dude who wanted to go whaling. This is as far as I got. He was a dude who wanted to go whaling. He went to some city down in the East Coast, Nantucket or something, by Nantucket or something, and he was checking into a hotel for the night. But he didn't have enough money to go to a real good place, so he went to a cheap place and he had to share a bed. The guy's like, "We're full, but you can share a bed with this harpooner dude," right?
Okay.
That part, like, if I could just do the parts that talked about what he was doing, I could kind of read. But what would happen
that's not the
is
point.
a page and a half. At one point during that, he goes on for about a page plus describing this oil painting
Oh my
on the
gosh.
wall.
Yeah, see, I would just like be skimming through all
But
of that.
I tried to think, well, you know what? Maybe I can do that and
Yeah.
just read the important parts.
Yeah.
But you don't know really eventually
I would
where
just
they...
flip like a quarter of the way through and
just
start there.
reading. I just did, and I'm trying to be like, I don't know, like an older person. Like, hey, I
Yeah.
can appreciate this.
Yeah, I
Well,
think maybe you need a couple more years to be able to appreciate Moby Dick. Maybe in your 50s.
I got 40 pages in, and it was 500 pages. I finally said to my dad, I went to the library and exchanged it for a Dean Koontz book. And I told my dad, I'm like, I tried, but when am I going to finish this thing in September?
Right.
Like 10 pages a day?
Oh, that's funny. Maybe you should listen to it on an audiobook.
You know what? That is a good solution. To be
Like
honest,
when you're
Audible.
walking or running or something.
I've heard with Audible, that's a big deal. So
Yeah.
I know people like it. Problem is, I'm not. You know the problem with that is, it's the same thing with my car. I got that shitty Ford I do the DoorDash in, and the radio.
Mm-hmm.
God bless my dad. He tried to buy me a radio last year because I didn't even have one, and it just doesn't work very
Why
well.
don't you just drive with an AirPod in or something?
Well, here's the reason I don't do that. With DoorDash, it's just for me kind of annoying because you have to keep waiting for an order, and then eventually when one comes in, you're kind of. It's just I found it annoying to listen to a podcast for me in that setting because then it's like, okay, now I got to get here, and I'm kind of getting distracted.
Gotcha.
It's not like you're just sitting in a car ride.
Yeah.
For 2 hours, like going straight, down the road. So for me, maybe other people could do it. For me, it's just kind of I
Yeah.
find it a little distracting.
Yeah.
Anyway, I gave it a shot.
You tried.
Moby Dick. I
tried.
I gave it a shot. I have two things here. I'm trying to decide what to do. I'll do the money thing. We'll do the money thing.
Okay.
Which if people remember from last week, Amy spent $1,500 on a pair of boots. And she was fine with that.
I'll have to wear them over here one of these
Yeah, the infamous boots. And I got mad at myself because I spent $10 on a McDonald's breakfast. Do you want to start first today, or do you want me to start first? What do you think would be better as far as
It doesn't matter. Well, okay. I'll go
trying to-
first because it's not going to be really like an apples to apples comparison in terms of like really buying something.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious. So, we're building this house.
Right.
And obviously when you build a home, there's the base price of like, this is what it's going to be at its very base.
That must be
If
such a bitch. Like a car is already even
Yeah.
when you're buying a car, it's like,
Yeah.
this is the base. No, do you want,
Right.
heated seats? And,
Right.
And those are decisions, but a house, I mean, you're
Yeah.
talking faucets. And
It wasn't even so much that it was like, then the example I'm going to use is, and everything obviously is very nice. I mean, the basic is nice.
Yeah.
The basic is nice, but I spent $1,500 on
Right,
boots.
right.
So
well, and this is you're building your, like, I know
okay,
you're
so
living in
I'm
a house
curious
now,
what
but, like,
you would do
Yeah.
in this scenario. So when you buy a house, there's elevations, which are what the outside of the house looks like.
Right.
Okay. And they give you three options. The one that's like included.
Yeah.
Then there's one that's middle price.
And this time
then
it's just the outside right now,
it's
right?
just the way the outside of the house looks.
Okay.
And then there's the third one that's the most expensive. Would you my first question is, would you just go with the basic, or do you think that you would upgrade to something else?
If I'm at the point where I actually have enough money, I'm buying a house, I probably wouldn't go the most. I'd probably go in the middle.
Okay.
I would. If I was actually making a house, now I'm someone who's I'm going to say to myself, like, I think I would say to myself, I should go middle ground because this is fucking it, man.
Yeah.
Unless I win the lottery, there ain't nothing after this.
Okay.
So I probably would try to do the middle.
Okay. And what is the most that you would pay for that middle? Like what are you thinking when you say middle? Are you thinking this is adding an extra like 1,000?
So you already have the house, and these are now all extra.
This is yes.
Right.
There's one that's included in the house.
Right. So if you buy the house for $400,000, this is what comes with it.
Right.
Right off the bat, it's at $400,000.
Yep.
You have to spend an extra to make it the middle.
Correct.
I'd be willing. It's hard. This is a hard question to me, only because I don't have any idea how much money I have.
Right.
Like I'd have to know what let me write your base salary and gross and Rockies and your car payments, and then we make. You know what I'm saying though?
But I mean, I think.
Here's a good. It actually is hilarious that you brought this up to me, because when you said you were going to do the house thing, I was trying to kill some time this week, waiting for orders because it was a little slow still. And I went to the bathroom in a Menards, and I was walking around, and I was looking at like sinks and stuff. And I was like, holy shit. Like, I literally can do a trip on the price of a sink. Like, you know what's funny? I'm seriously funny that you brought this up. I almost sent you a picture of this couch in Menards, and like, this couch costs more than your boots, or your boots cost more than this couch. So you asked.
Did you sit on it? Was it comfortable?
It was pretty comfortable, but your boots cost more than this couch. Now it's at Menards. I don't know what you expect from Menards.
Yeah.
But the point is that you bring this up. I swear to God, I was walking down this aisle looking at just sinks and going,
shit is not cheap.
Holy fuck! I literally can't.
Crazy.
I'm sitting here fucking worried about $10. This is a $500 sink. I could go to Vegas on this for me. So anyway, back to the price. What do I think the middle versus the expensive would be?
Or like what are you?
I'm gonna say it costs an extra $60,000.
Okay, so you went high.
Really?
Yeah, you went high. Okay, so it's not as bad as I thought then.
What are you gonna tolerate?
Yeah, I'll tell you. So obviously, I picked the most expensive one because why not?
Now, is that the most expensive? Where am I compared to the most expensive?
So there was only 3 options.
Right.
So A, B, and C.
Basic.
B was the middle, and then so I went with C, and it was an extra 14,000.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
I thought seriously it'd be way
but
more.
that was like for sure the one of the largest upgrade expenses. Like if you wanted to save money when you were gonna build a house, that's one of the things you would cut out.
Gotcha. I probably got really jaded.
Yeah, I know. I know. But I will say overall, because we went with every chance I got to get an upgrade, I went with it.
Right.
Because then after I picked the $14,000 elevation, it was like, well, what difference does it make if I spend $500 more on a fireplace?
I will tell you, that's where like my friends and I, for example, on that trip differed. Like, and for me, it is not, by the way, I am a thrifty person, I think, but it is mostly necessity. I would say that.
Yeah.
But like, that's where it gets tricky to me, because you're right. Once I got 14,000, what's 300? What's that? And I used to tell my friend, the problem is that is how it goes, though.
Yeah.
And so like when you're doing something like, I would buy tickets. I'm going to buy tickets for a concert on StubHub. I'm going to ride it and see where it lands. If you say I'm willing to spend, $100 for Luke Bryan tickets or whatever, and you're like, well, this is on 120.
Yeah.
Well, then it becomes pretty soon. Okay, yeah, 120 is not bad. Well, then why not 130?
Trust me, I know. I was going to tell you that when it was all said and done, what difference does it make? It's only,
Yeah.
And the thing is, what you have to keep in mind
you're building a house. This is
it's not like it's out of pocket. It's over the life of a mortgage.
Right.
And you're financing it at a very low interest rate. So that's why mainly why I took the approach of, what difference does it make? Because when you're adding $500 onto a 30-year loan, what difference does it make?
No,
right?
I know you're right.
But that led to literally, like, I think probably like $85,000 in upgrades.
I could live for, I think, 4 years off of $80,000. I'm probably not kidding either. You know what I mean? Like, if you just gave me $80,000 right now, I would just go take that van.
Like, how happy would you be?
Probably, you know me.
You would be so happy, wouldn't you?
I would be. You know what? If you gave me a check for $80,000 right now, I would take the van and I would just go until I could.
Yeah.
I'd stay at KOA's.
Yeah.
Run the wheels on. And I'm not kidding. I bet if I sat there and ate thrifty.
Would you buy a new van or would you take that one?
I'd take this one.
Yeah.
Because why would spend another $20,000 on my 80?
That's true.
And the van still only got $100,000.
That's true.
I mean, why would I? That's a good one. It's weird because, like I said, it's not totally like, it's hard for me to say what I would spend based on what I had because I don't fully know the situation. I'll tell you what happened to me this week.
Oh, boy.
I don't know if I'll be able to do this every week, only because I think this one is so obnoxious. But I was doing the DoorDash, and lately the problem is because people are all back to work more. It used to be really profitable in the morning when people were still living at home or working from home and stuff. It's not as profitable, but I wake up so fucking early. I try to do my intermediate fasting, so I try not to eat till 11-ish. So if I'm up at 5 in the morning, I can only do so much.
Yeah.
And I don't want to just watch whatever and stuff like that. And so for me, I like to go out in the morning, even though it's not making as much as it was. And lunch is really a better time, right? So usually I've been starting to pack a little lunch, but this time I didn't. And I'm sitting there, and it was like 11 o'clock or like 10:30-ish or whatever. And I'm trying to decide if I should go home and eat, quote unquote, a free meal at home, or I could buy a really small, just quick meal at Taco Bell. I just get an AM Crunchwrap, which is $4.
Okay.
Now, I looked into it, and even gas and back would have cost me.
Oh my God.
Like, I totaled how many miles it was back home to decide how much money would I have spent on gas if I drive home and back. Because if I drive home for free, I'm still going to spend gas money.
Oh my God.
So it came down to, it would probably cost me $2 to drive home and back. Should I spend an extra $2 on this Crunchwrap to stay out for a few hours, hoping I make up the $2 by making more money? And I spent 30 minutes trying to decide.
Oh my God.
And I went for it in the end. I got the Crunchwrap. And you know what's even worse about that? I had gotten a few cash tips recently, which is rare, but I got them. I fucking hate cash. I never do anything on cash. It's always on my credit card because now that I have a clean debt, it's points. So I had like $9 in singles, which I'm never going to use. They're going to sit there, and I'm never going to want to use them because I'm always going to think I should use my credit card. So I used that.
Yeah.
So then even after justifying $2, I said to myself, well, you don't even have to count this because I don't count this in my weekly total. So I didn't technically, in a way, spend any money.
Oh my God.
But it took me a half hour to get there.
Oh,
I know.
Oh, I have another good one for this week. Do you want me?
Go ahead.
It happened this week.
That's fine.
Or do you want me to keep it for next week?
Let's hold on to it. Let's hold on to it.
I'm try to remember.
I got one actual story that I'm gonna do. I'm not even gonna do this one that I had, but I want to do this real fast before I get there. And this was like I kind of teased this idea of an old man take on baseball.
Oh boy!
And I know Amy's a big sports fan.
Yes,
I would say, I think we're equal in this sense. I am bigger in this emotional sense. I get. Not that you don't get worked up, but like I just feed off the emotion. I will drive. I really am already looking into going to Lambeau next year. Things like that.
Yeah.
You're fucking know numbers. You know names.
Yes.
Like you could you could work in sports radio, in my opinion.
Thank you. That is what I wanted to do. So I appreciate that.
I honestly, I really mean it. You could.
Thanks.
Amy knows more about sports than me. I like sports, so I think my like emotional thing puts us kind of
for
equal.
Sure.
But my point is. I love baseball.
Me too.
And so the Tigers are.
I saw that.
So the Detroit Tigers are they moving in and putting it down, or just?
Yes. Both.
So they're moving in right field
and center, I think.
and center.
Yes.
And lowering like the big wall they have in the right center.
Yep.
So I can already tell your answer was bullshit. You didn't like
I think it's bullshit. I think it's bullshit. I think that once you've committed to a stadium, I feel like you have to, unless you're remodeling it in some capacity and you have to make room for something else, I can maybe understand that. But to just arbitrarily move it in because your team sucks.
By the way, like, I heard that they said we consulted everybody, including fucking what's his name, the guy, the outfielder.
Which one? Like the current one?
Yeah, current player. I'm trying to think of his. I can't.
God, I don't. Honestly, I just got said. You just said I know sports, but honestly, I'm so jaded by those fucking Tigers.
Okay, that's fair.
It's just
that's fair.
Well, honestly, I don't even know who they have right now.
They have a current guy that they asked because they're like, oh, he can get more cool catches because
cool catches.
They'll be. Are we going for reels here?
Right.
Like
I mean,
reels?
Seriously. I saw Miggy commented on it, and he's like, I think I want to play more years now.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Right.
But again, it's for that. It's like you just had one of the best players in all of baseball hitting in one of the biggest parks in all of baseball, and you wait until Riley Green. You wait until he's about to retire to fucking move the fences in. Like, think about. I'd be pissed if I was him. Like, I'd be going back to look at my hits and being like, okay, what would have been home runs and shit? Like, had they done this while I was in my prime?
My thing is, like, I'm not trying to be an old man who, like, I want 500 feet fences and why don't pitchers throw complete games anymore?
I just think it's lame.
I understand things change, but dude,
I don't know. I guess I would have to.
It's like, are you doing it just like, the fan experience?
Yeah,
and more honestly, you need more home runs. I like the triples, man. I love when I get triples off that fucking wall out there.
The only thing that could probably make the argument for me is if you showed me some analysis of the rest of the ballparks in the league, if we were significantly larger.
Yeah, you're like, dude, you're 40 feet larger than every other stadium.
Like, you're significantly larger, and it's probably affecting your games. Then I could probably see becoming more on a level playing field. But again, that's the unique thing about baseball is that they're all different.
What sucks is I'm not going to get too into it, but I don't like Comerica Park. I never have. I never
like Comerica.
I don't. I think they did it. I think it's boring.
Yeah.
And I think that, this makes it even worse to me.
Yeah.
Because now you have
Comerica is kind of boring. I see what you're saying.
Here's the thing.
That.
I went to, and I know we talked about it when I was on the trip, but I went to Minnesota.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that park was built around either right at the same time or right around Tiger State or Comerica Park.
Okay.
And it is, like, to me, really cool. It's got some very cool looks to center field. That's a long story. I don't want to get too into it.
I mean, ours can be cool, on the right summer night and the buildings are there and stuff. Like, it can be cool. But, like, PNC Park,
but even that, they're okay. They did an okay job, taking advantage of this little skyline that Detroit has. But it's not the park even. Like, it's just the seats are there's nothing cool about it. There's nothing.
I do hate that grassy wall. I hate that thing.
And the thing is, now that you take a wall and you just move it in a little bit, it's going to look weird. It looks like minor league to me.
Yeah.
Like, you're right. If it was like that, it was like it.
Right.
Even what they did, personally, I would never have moved the left field wall.
Yeah.
But at least.
Well, they had to do that for the bullpens, right? Or did they do that more recently?
They already had the bullpens.
They moved those, though.
Yeah, but they didn't have to move the bullpens. They moved the bullpens, right? Because, hey, we're going to move in the wall so we can just do that.
Was that it, or did they add more seating?
They did add more seating.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back to it. My belief is like that he kind of said, we're going to move this in, so might as well put the bullpens here and put seats here.
Right, probably.
That's my guess. That's what I always thought happened. I could be wrong.
I don't fully remember.
But now it's like you're going to have like another wall that's in.
Yeah.
I don't know. And the other thing in baseball is going to get with you real quick. I know it's kind of nerdy, is that they're going to, and I understand why, but they're going to fight off the what is it? The
robot umpires?
The switch. Or not the switch. What do you call it?
Oh, the shift.
The shift?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sound like an old man, but dude, just learn to bunt or hit it opposite way.
Yeah. I'm shocked by that because
what do you think of like? I actually in a way I weirdly agree with it because I almost think at this point they have to.
Yeah, I don't know though. Isn't that kind of like telling a football team, what defense to run? Like that would be saying like you can no longer play this specific type of defense. That's weird.
I know that. Well, I know sports do things because eventually they realize, hey, competitively, we need to. This is getting out of control. I kind of get that.
Yeah.
But in this instance,
yeah,
literally, just learn to hit a bunt.
Right.
Learn to fucking hit.
Right.
Left to left.
Right.
Or right. Versus. Yeah. Like Mickey, they don't do it to Mickey.
Right.
Mickey doesn't get shifted on.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just learn to hit. Like you're getting paid a ton of money.
Right.
And what it boils down to is them going, oh, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
We can't swing over. We can't
get
hits.
Right. It's so weird that they did that.
I know it seems like an old person take, and I get that baseball's not the most popular anymore. I know it's slow.
Did you see that they are starting with like robot umpires in the
see that.
AAA?
No.
Half the games this year are going to be like a robot
just
umpire with a strike zone.
Just home plate or?
Yeah.
Is something going to be there, or are they just going to let them know what it is? Like, you know what I mean?
That's a good question.
Like,
I'm not totally sure. I'm not totally sure. But I think that the strike zone is a, it's assigned based on like the height of the player and like whatever. I would want to, I don't know. I feel like you need to find a hybrid with that because there are certain things where you're like, oh, the strike zones are so different. And even from team,
I will say this: I've always hated. I'm not saying I want a robot umpire.
Yeah,
but I always have hated this idea of like, well, he just calls a high strike zone.
Yeah,
what do you mean?
Why don't we have a set strike zone?
If he's missing it, he's missing it. He's human. He's not going to see it. But there is a strike zone.
There is a strike zone.
This idea that like, oh, I give him the outside of the plate.
Exactly. Like
what? You give him the outside.
Thank you.
Of the
That's
plate.
what I'm saying. Like a hybrid. Like there needs to be a strike zone that.
This is the strike
This is what it is. And I've had that same opinion about football where it's like, why haven't, and I think Detroit Cast has talked about it, why haven't we chipped the field?
That was Jay, man. Jay used to be like,
so much fucking
these
sense.
Dudes are just lining it up with their eyes.
With their eyes. And entire games are decided on someone's judgment call of where the fucking ball should be. It is so crazy to me when we have the technology that we do.
That was Jay for sure, and I get that. And with strikes and balls, I personally don't mind human error on some extent. And the strike, I will say, I don't know if you've been close enough on those things. That is wild.
Insane
that those guys can even do it.
I know,
because it's coming so fast.
I mean, every time I'd be like, oh, and I'd miss it and I'd look away.
And I don't mind error. I think that strikes and balls, I think whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think we need robots. But I would say like I never liked the idea like again
yeah.
of I call this strikes.
Yeah.
No, what are you talking about?
Right.
I will say I went to a minor league game on the trip and they were already doing the thing where it was like full on now time limit.
Yep.
Which I don't mind that.
Yep.
Because I've talked to my brother even about that. He's like, they didn't used to do all this.
Yeah.
What happened is once things got more and more money, then everybody started getting personal coaches.
Yep.
This is my brother's take on it is anyway. And it's like their coach just told them, like, I'm a pitcher. I pay this guy $1 million a year. I don't even have a team guy. And he tells me, like, take 5 breaths every time. Make sure you get your heart rate down. Make sure you do this. And it's like, dude, no. Just get up there and fucking throw the ball.
Right.
We can't live in a bubble of sports is perfect. That's the point of it.
Right.
Otherwise, you have robots out there.
Yeah.
But, so I don't mind that a little bit. But, yeah, a robot umpire. And the switch to me, like I said, just learn to hit.
Yeah, I don't like that either. You know, that's what the interesting thing is too about baseball and football is baseball has this whole minor league system where they can try this shit out and see what works and what doesn't.
Cool.
Whereas the NFL, it's like, what fucking benefit is it to them to do that?
Right.
You know, like they don't give a shit. And until a Super Bowl is decided on the spot of a ball and the loser happens to be the most beloved quarterback like a Patrick Mahomes or it's Tom Brady's last Super Bowl or something, then maybe possibly
we kind of came close to that, I think, in that. Remember that New Orleans game? Remember there was like a pass interference that was called or wasn't called? And it was like, I don't remember which was right, but it was like egregious.
It was insane.
And they did something at that point. I don't remember what the change was, but they did step in and say like, going forward, we can review this.
Yes, I think that was what. Yeah, you can now review pass interference
because it was like
type of
it was an NFC. Wasn't it like an NFC championship game?
Yeah, that was the one I think where then Stefon Diggs got that. It was the last play, like Hail Mary. They got like one additional play, and it was that Hail Mary, and they set it to Titanic music.
That makes sense because I know that was like the closest where you talk about something like that, where it was like, holy shit, this was bad.
That
like,
yes, and the whole world is watching type of thing.
Here, man, we're already 46 minutes.
Hey,
in.
How did comedy go though?
Good. Well, the class was interesting.
Okay.
Because I haven't done comedy since the trip yet because I was just kind of catching, holidays and yada yada. I'm glad I'm doing the class. It's forcing me. I haven't written jokes in so long, and I know I told you I was going to start doing it, but I mean, even writing them like really trying to. This is where the punchline is because he's really pushing this. Like he kind of like you got to write these out, and you have to know where the punchline is. I haven't really done that in a long time. I've kind of just they're all different, kind of, and I got up. It was interesting. I did in the class, I did a set that included that gangbang joke.
I was just going to ask, are you allowed, is there any like restrictions?
So he doesn't say that there is. It was interesting. This is kind of funny in the end. So we did a class. The first hour or so was him talking about whatever, doesn't matter. Then the second half, he's like, okay, let's start to get up.
Because this is a little more advanced.
Yeah, this is, you've already been doing it. And so he was kind of telling us about the different shows you could get and what monies were. It was actually there was a few things I got out of it that did change my mind on different things, like even comedy festivals. There's this thought like, oh, I go out to Colorado and we have the Boulder Comedy Festival. He's like, dude, you're going to pay to get a submission. And most of the time you're just showing up at what's almost an open mic. And so there's some stuff that I had never thought about before from a guy who's been in the business his whole adult life or whatever. But we got up and some people did their sets. I think 3 or 4 did it. And then I really wanted to get up there and I did my thing. And we had about a half hour left. My telling of a joke about me being into gangbangs because I'm not good at sex took the rest of the class to decide on whether it was good or not, or whether people would be okay with that joke or not. And it was heated, like not yelling, but heated, like back and forth, like, well, I like it. Or this could really, I could see girls, like there was apparently one girl behind me. We have a listener to the TDC that is in this class with me.
Oh.
And he was telling me there was one girl that was like cringing the whole time. She was like, gangbang and talking about multiple guys on one girl.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't get it because I feel like I'm not the hero in this story.
Yeah.
It's me being terrible at sex. So bad that I want other guys there. I guess I could just say 3-way.
Right.
And change it to a 3-way.
Right.
I need another dude there to tag in.
Yeah.
And maybe that'd be a way of doing it a little cleaner.
Yeah.
As I'm saying it right now, maybe that's a way of cleaning it up a bit.
Yeah.
But that took the rest of the class.
That is so funny.
Back and forth discussing on whether that was a good joke or not, whether it worked or not. I will say this. It's interesting. The guy doing the class, said he really liked me overall. He said, overall, I really liked you. The one thing he said about me that is he's the best compliment was a lot of comics, he said, even after a long period of time, believe it or not, still have to find their quote unquote persona on stage.
Okay.
He's like, dude, you have that. You're just kind of lovable loser. You know what I mean? Just I don't mumble, but it kind of seems like I'm mumbling.
Yeah.
Kind of like, hey,
yeah.
I don't know about that. Anyway.
Right.
So he said.
Is he giving you all this feedback in front of the group?
Yeah, it was very nerve-wracking even for me.
How many people are in the class?
Like 15, 20.
Okay.
I had traveled around the whole country last year. I've done it in front of strangers. I wanted to get up to get the critique, but I was so fucking nervous. Like I wanted to, but I also didn't want to.
You should still you should try to work in, because I think it was a good one for you when you were on the road, you said, but you can still say like, hey, I
did this thing.
The basketball thing.
Yeah.
You can still do that.
Yeah, I've thought about it. I'm weird because I don't really I'm so dumb. I don't use.
People haven't heard that.
No, but for me, it's like, I feel weird even, I don't like telling people I've done, I'm dumb.
You're so weird.
I know. So it went really well. And then I signed up for the Ridley's, like I said, the open mic on Wednesday. And I was there, and I just had this inkling to try some different stuff up front. I've done that joke about my sister with her baby, about being passive aggressive to a baby, but I finally wrote it out versus me, how I usually just have fun with it.
Okay.
And as I was getting ready to go up, if I know what I want to do right away, I can do a lot better. If I, for some reason, am in a weird space of not knowing what jokes I'm like, not settled on what I want to do, it can really hurt me.
Yeah.
Like I get in if I just know, like I'm listening to the crowd, I feel like, okay, these are the jokes that will be good.
Yeah.
But I was in this moment of trying to decide between like 3 different opening jokes.
You weren't sold on it.
And it really hurt me.
Yeah.
And I got up and I did not do well for the first 2 minutes or so. And then weirdly, I just gave up and I said, fuck it. And I did the gangbang joke. And it went really well.
That's good.
And he was there, and he was there, so I wonder what his opinion on it will be. But like, it was funny because that went really well. And then I did a joke about my key fob after that, and I only had 5 minutes or whatever. And I got off, and like, there was more than a few people that said I was funny, and I felt terrible about it.
Nice.
And I'm not trying to be a self-hating person.
Yeah.
But I just knew that the first 3 minutes.
Did you run out of there like you did when I watched you?
No, well, I kind of did. I kind of just got out of the club. I was so hot.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I felt it was weird because there was a few people that came up to me like, dude, you were funny. And I felt like I did 5 minutes, and the first two and a half were terrible.
Yeah.
And they did not go well.
Yeah, but you have to work it out. And,
I know. And you know what? I haven't been on stage.
Yeah.
Again, since I've been back.
And then did you do it again on Thursday?
I did on Thursday last night. There wasn't really a crowd. It went a little better. I told my sister I'm working with the baby joke. I'm doing this thing now where this sucks, man. I had this article I wanted to get to too. But we're already at 52 minutes. But I twist to the baby because I am trying to add to this, like I'm passive aggressive to a baby. And I told her, I said, I started adding this where I'm saying that my sister's been telling, and the problem is that she's already better at me than some things. And my sister's been telling me like, oh, Kaylee's starting to make and hold eye contact. And I'm like, dude, I'm not even mastered at 39, like this fucking kid.
That's awesome. I like that.
So I'm throwing that.
That's good.
And, yeah. So
very good.
You know what I'm going to say? This we're going to end.
You can do it. We've got.
Well, here I want to say this to people that I've got this class coming up. I'm doing the class. It ends with a kind of a graduation show on the 15th of February, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to tell people where I'm going to try to be doing open mics between now and then.
Okay.
But I'm not trying to put a disclaimer, but for the first time in my life of doing comedy, I'm going to only work on that 7 minutes.
Okay.
For February, because they'll film it.
Awesome.
If you have a comedy club, I could finally. He said you can get that film. You pay like $20. You can take a film of it.
Nice.
And I could put that on and start sending it. Right.
You should do that. Yeah.
My normal instincts, as I've told you before, my worry is I get ADD. I want to do new jokes every night. So I'm not trying to say don't come to see me at these other open mics. Mm-hmm. But this is a time when I am really going to, quote unquote, be doing the Chicago hooker story. I'm going to do the same stuff until February.
Yeah.
After that, I'm going to try to write again and do more stuff. But I want to build this up to a night where I could have 7 fucking minutes that I could send out finally.
Do you think Kevin Hart's writing new jokes for every city he goes to?
I know, but I'm weird about it, and I'm weird when I ask a listener to drive to Walled Lake. Maybe like there's some that said they might come next week on Thursday, and I'm weird if I get weird where like I feel like they should want to hear. They've already heard me maybe reference this.
Yeah, but
subject.
We can also see you getting better. You know,
I know.
Like, and also like maybe provide you feedback like, hey, last week I thought this worked better than what you did this week.
That's fair. I'm just saying that's how I feel though.
And I'm telling you the opposite of how we might think, that it doesn't, maybe you need to realize it doesn't bother people.
Right.
But I think it's nice that you put that out there so people know what to expect if they're going to go to shows over the next few weeks.
Over the next few weeks, I would say
you're going to be doing the same content.
Actually trying to work on something.
And I think that that's good.
Which, by the way, next Thursday at the, or 26th at the Walled Lake Tiki Bar again. The Wednesday, February 15th, like I said, at Ridley's.
And can people go to that?
Yeah. And by the way, they do actually recommend for that one people buy tickets ahead of time, only because when they do these graduation classes, these are the one time where people are like can actually get people to go.
Yeah,
because that Ridley's, and you tell people I'm doing a class graduation.
And the 15th is a Saturday.
It's a Wednesday.
Oh, it's a Wednesday.
February 15th at Ridley's. That's at 7:30. And for anybody that's up in Flint, that Saturday though, February 18th, Tenacity Brewing Company in Flint. That's a cool show. That's a dude. This guy named. Randomly, I'm losing my.
Sounds like a nice dude.
Mark Bono.
Okay.
Runs shows up there, and he does really good rooms. Like they're always, the reason I'm willing to drive to Flint at this point, I'm only doing these things now if they're worth it. Mike Ball is a guy up in Saginaw that runs rooms where you go there and you get like $30 and it's a good crowd and they're there for comedy. It's like, that's not an open mic.
Right.
That's a show.
That's a show.
So that's kind of cool. So here, I'll just summarize it. What the deal was, some married couple.
Okay.
They're married. Every year for Christmas, the tradition was they agreed that he got a bonus for work and he got to keep his bonus. And her parents apparently every year would write her a check.
Okay.
And they agreed at one point, you get your Christmas bonus to you, you get your Christmas bonus, your Christmas bonus to you.
Okay.
Well, tough times have come on the Mrs.
Okay.
And her family only gave her a certain amount of considerably less.
Okay.
Like $80. It's actually over in euros, so I don't know if it's pounds or whatever.
Okay.
And she's pissed that he won't share his money now, even though they had an agreement. And he says, now we have to take him at his word, but he says at times he didn't get as high of a bonus, and she didn't share her money.
Oh. Well,
what would happen in the Zempel household if such a situation were to occur?
Nothing like that would occur. Although, no, I would say
it is a weird thing.
No. Rocky and I have our own separate accounts.
Yeah.
That we each have a little bit of money in, I think, and whatever, that's fine. But I think if the family, so in my mind, there's a general fund for this family.
Right. And then there is a general fund that he splits. Yeah.
Okay. And then
they're literally just talking about
spending
he gets
money.
A bonus, not even spending money.
Okay.
Once a year, he gets a bonus. And traditionally, once a year, her parents have sent her a check.
Okay.
And they've just said, hey, for Christmas, these are kind of, we do our own thing. Everything else appears to be kind of on the normal. And she's saying,
so what does she need more money for?
It doesn't say in the thing. He took the Reddit. I didn't go to the Reddit link and I guess
I would just unless the shared fund was depleted and like they really needed money and he's sitting over there going, well, I'm not transferring any of my money into the general fund.
It sounds like all she wants is like, hey,
that's bullshit.
Split me some of this money.
Bummer, man. Go out and get a fucking job.
And he does, like I said, he does say that in times where his work didn't give him as good of a bonus, it was like she didn't give him some of the money she got from her parents.
That's crazy.
What a weird situation as a marriage to me. Like, you have this deal where her parents just give her like $800 at Christmas, like as a check, not like, hey, we bought you,
Yeah. Well, maybe I guess instead of spending $800 on gifts, they just give her the money.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
It's just when I saw that.
I love that there's a part in there that he's like, well, she didn't do it for me.
I know. And they just talk about how now there's just some weirdness in the house and they're just walking around with like tension.
That is so weird.
And how do you come back from it at some point? I really wonder.
I guess I would need to know more about the whole financial situation. But if it's just like they're spending money that they have or whatever, then I think you just get over it. Like, it's like what the fuck ever.
It says one person said on Reddit, stay-at-home parents get access to it all. They work the household. Because by the way, she's a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
She doesn't even work. And I'm not saying the kid raising isn't work and stuff.
Right.
But, he does go to work.
Right.
And it's not, like, it sounds like it's literally just, hey, I get this $1,000. Maybe you want to go on a weekend with my friends once a year.
Right.
Or something.
Right. Sounds like she had her eye on some $1,500 boots that she couldn't afford.
I'm going to ask this, and then we'll get out of here, man, an hour. Not that it's a big deal. I just feel
You've got a movie.
I got a movie I got to get going to it in 20 minutes. But what kind of expense, how big of a purchase that Rocky came home with? Would it be like, I mean, you bought him a PS5 for one, but I'm saying he comes home and he has brand new top-of-the-line golf clubs, and you haven't talked about it. Like, how big of a purchase would it be where you'd have to really be like, dude, really? You're pretty easygoing.
Yeah, and he would see. The thing is it would be the opposite.
Okay, so
I'm the one that wouldn't ask, and I would just do it.
Gotcha.
But I know the finances.
Right.
He doesn't in any capacity.
Okay.
So he would just have to be like, hey, can we afford this?
Okay.
So it just wouldn't happen, but
Let's just say,
yeah,
I
mean,
in a hypothetical.
Honestly, I think really it would just be probably like a big purchase, like a car or something.
Gotcha.
Like I always thought it was weird in those holiday commercials where like a husband buys his wife a car.
God, dude.
That would never. If Rocky bought me a car, I'd be like, what the fuck? What? We didn't even talk about this.
Think about that and forget the money for one.
Right.
But like, what if you? I mean, he has to make sure everything's right because
exactly.
you bought the car.
Right.
Like he forgets heated seating. Now you can't just go back and get or whatever.
It's crazy. It's like that's a big purchase.
That you would just show up.
I know.
The only people and I'm not trying to be like that. The only people that could do that are absolute wealthy off their ass.
Yeah.
Where you could just be like
to exchange it and take a loss.
Okay.
And whatever. Yeah.
All right, Amy. That will do it for this week. Thank you so much. We'll be back next week. Like I said, I'd mentioned the comedy. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Amy's back on Twitter.
Yeah.
So
Woo-hoo.
that, and then give money and shit.
And shit.
And that will be it. Goodbye. Sweet.